sometimes life can be pretty sad. You feel lonely, you feel forgotten, you feel overlooked. And then that someone comes in from out of nowhere and provides something, love, support, and things like that. And they come into the room of your life, they just click on all the switches and just brighten up the place instantly. And there are songs that have that sentiment about people that have come into people's lives with like love and support and things like that, and have really changed things for the better. So this is what we're going to be looking at today. Songs of, for lack of a better term, emotional rescue. By the way, Rolling Stone fans, don't get excited. We're not doing that song today. But we are doing songs about different types of emotional rescues, and that's what we're going to look at today. Obviously, this is our regular look at what goes on inside the groups. It's a program we call Platter Chatter. From the set of Goin Vinyl, this is Platter Chatter, the web series that features classic trends and classic tracks. I'm your host, Bill Robert, and I do have a favor to ask you. If you're watching us right now, please hit the like and subscribe buttons on YouTube. That way, we can help grow the channel, get more likes, get more subscribes. Basically, we'll be seen in front of more people. But also, when we track the likes, we'll see what subjects people like more than others. So that way we can kind of tailor our content. And if a certain subject seems to be getting more response than another one, then we know to go in that direction. So you can check us out there on YouTube. Obviously, if you're here right now, please just subscribe, and you can get all the new episodes when they come out. Also, check us out on Facebook. We've got a page over there too. It's Goin Vinyl TV. Now, if you have a subject that you want to see on the show, I mentioned, we'll take a look at the likes and see, which type of subjects people prefer. But if you would like to suggest a subject, something for us to do on the show, all you have to do is either drop us a comment right here on YouTube or send us an email. The email address is billthedj@goinvinyl.com. So today we're doing a song about emotional rescues, basically someone not having a good time with everything and someone else coming into their life and absolutely changing things for the better. And I am going to share a little personal story because this is kind of why this subject resonates with me so much. Going back about the year 2000, I was dating a girl named Terry at the time, and I hadn't been dating for a while, and she and I just got together, and it just clicked. The two of us got together, and just it worked between us. We got along great. Unfortunately, she had some congenital illnesses that were going on, and basically 9 months after we started going out, she passed away. She wound up the condition she had became terminal. So I spent a couple of years there in a really bad funk, really bad part of my life where it wasn't happy. But then someone named STACEY came into my life and just kind of helped turn me around, show me things weren't as hopeless as things I would see them being. And as a result, the two of us wound up getting together. And this year we celebrated our 21st wedding anniversary. So that's why, when I was in that time, in that 2-year period, it's like, Terry was my last hope. That's it. I'm done, whatever. And then STACEY came in, and it's actually funny because in that 2-year period, if you were to come up to me and tell me, 10 years down the road, you'll be happily married, someone will be there, da-da-da-da-da, I would have said, what the heck are you drinking and where can I get some? So, it's something that sometimes you just cannot see. But okay, so I'm taking your time with all that. Thank you for listening to my story there. And I wanted to tell you that just to tell you why this particular subject resonates with me a little more. It's a little more close to home. So anyway, we're going to go to our first song now. And the opening lyrics of this song, this basically really kind of does a nice job in summing up what this show is all about, what kind of songs we're talking about here. The opening lines of this song: yesterday I would not have believed that tomorrow the sun would shine. Then one day you came into my life. I'm alive again. I mean, that's right there. That sells the whole thing. This is what we're talking about here. This is Chicago with Alive Again.
Yesterday I would not have believed that tomorrow the sun would shine. Then one day you came into my life. I am alive again. I am alive again. All the empty yesterdays have disappeared.
So definitely a very happy, upbeat song. Peter Cetera just going right to it, and the lyrics. I mean, it's just amazing. And when I heard this song, I've loved this song for years. It's been a favorite of mine. But I listened to it differently, after I met my current wife. So it just once again, just really hits home, and just, I mean, the band is just so up and it's so positive. And you think about this, okay? This might have been considered a dark time for the band, because not only was this the first album that they recorded after their split with longtime producer James William Guercio, but also it is the first album they recorded after the death of their guitarist and vocalist Terry Kath. So right there. And this is the opening track on the album too. That's the other thing. You drop the needle on the hot streets, this is the first thing you get here. Alive Again. And I mean, great guitars to open, and so then just Cetera comes in with that amazing line that I recited going into the song here. Alive Again. By the way, off the album Hot Streets. Now, Hot Streets is one of the very few Chicago albums not just given a number. Like normally you say like Chicago 3, Chicago 4, Chicago 7, Chicago 17, Chicago 18, whatever. But this one, Hot Streets, which I believe was equivalent to Chicago 13. So there you go. Just a great song by Chicago. And kind of, mention the whole thing about, the emotional rescue aspect of the point I'm trying to get across here. So we're going to go from Chicago to another classic 70s artist, and this is a guy who could write a song. I mean, when I say, a lot of people can write songs, but I mean, this guy could write a song. I mean, the beautiful, lush instrumentation and the lyrics. I mean, a lot of his lyrics just really cut down to it. And I mentioned in a previous episode where, it can be easy to write a love song per se if you just kind of phone it in, but it can be really difficult to write a good love song. I've mentioned this guy is one of those guys who can write really good love songs, and this is definitely one of them. Of course, we're talking about Stevie Wonder and one of his classics from 1973, "You Are the Sunshine of My Life."
You must have known that I was lonely, because you came to my rescue, and I know that this must be heaven. How could so much love be inside of you? Oh, you are the sunshine of my life, yeah.
Once again, it's all about the lyrics. You must have known that I was lonely because you came to my rescue. In fact, it's that line that basically inspired me to name this the Emotional Rescue episode. Once again, sorry, Rolling Stones, but Stevie Wonder is the one who did it here. So this was Stevie Wonder's third single to go #1. It won a Grammy for Best Male Pop Vocal Performance. It was from his 1973 LP Talking Book, classic one. Went #1 on the Billboard chart and also on the Cashbox chart. #3 on the Billboard R&B chart. I mean, monster hit. And Stevie Wonder actually had some help. You might have noticed, all the vocalists there were him. Jim Gilstrap and Lanny Groves were the two vocalists helping him out on "You Are the Sunshine of My Life." So we go to that, and we go to another one here. When I first heard this song, I thought it was like the same thing where a romantic thing comes in and helps somebody. But in this case, the song was inspired by the birth of a child. But in either case, your life, you could be in a rut, your life could be in a certain place. But then something happens, something gets introduced, be it a romantic lover or a child, and all of a sudden just turns around your way of looking at life, looking at yourself. I mean, the opening lyrics of this song, I take a look, I think, I see someone in the mirror, it's like the person I used to be, and one I no longer recognize. I mean, this is a great song, came out in 1988, co-written by Kim Wilde and her brother Ricky, who just had the child we were talking about. This one's called "You Came."
Someone I know is staring at me, and when I look into her eyes, it's the girl that I used to be. I hardly recognize, 'cause in the space of a year, I thought she only disappeared. All of the things I once had precious just don't mean anything anymore. 'Cause suddenly you came and changed the way I feel. No one could love you more because you came.
So in this case, it was a child. It wasn't a romantic partner, but once again, it's love that comes into a life that can be transformative. And there we go. Kim Wilde singing the song "You Came." It was her final top 50 hit in the U.S. It actually went to #41, but in her native England, it went all the way up to #3. I still love the song. It's a great one. "You Came" by Kim Wilde. Another one here on Platter Chatter. So now, "You've Made Me So Very Happy." It's a sentiment that we can all think of, when someone comes in, In fact, the lyrics in the song, "You've made me so very happy now that you came into my life." David Clayton Thomas does the vocal. sounds great. And obviously the band's with him on it. Blood, Sweat, and Tears, You've Made Me So Very Happy.
Got mad and closed the door, but you said, child, just once more. I chose you for the one. Now we're having so much fun. You treated me so kind. I'm about to lose my mind. You made me so very happy. I'm so glad you came into my life.
One of the all-time classic hits from Blood, Sweat, and Tears went all the way to number 2 back in 1968 when they recorded it, You Made Me So Very Happy. Now, the interesting thing about this one is, a lot of the bands like Chicago and Blood, Sweat, and Tears, they do a lot of composing their own stuff, but this was a cover. This actually was co-written by Brenda Holloway, who recorded it and released it in 1967 on the Tamla label, which obviously was one of the Motown subsidiary labels at the time. And that one went to number 39 originally when it came out, then Blood, Sweat, and Tears came out, took it to number 2. And by the way, since, other than those two versions, this song has been recorded 18 times. So the song and the sentiment obviously have resonated with a lot of people there to give us as many versions as there are of that particular song, You've Made Me So Very Happy. Now this next one, this seems like a no-brainer really. I mean, it starts out, the title, the first lyric, says everything about the song, about someone who's looking for something and they finally find something, and what's their cry to the heavens? At last.
At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over, and life is like a song.
So this was a song that was originally recorded in 1942 by Glenn Miller and his orchestra. Then Etta James came out with it in 1960, At Last. Now this was number 2 on the R&B charts, but this is one of her first crossovers. Went over to the Billboard Hot 100 and hit number 47, and it's still considered one of her signature songs, At Last from 1960. The song was later covered, by the way. Celine Dion came out with a version, Beyonce came out with a version. So once again, a popular version, and many people have done their particular spin on it, but for me, even though there were versions done earlier, when it comes to this song, it's all about Etta James for me. As far as I'm concerned, in my head, this is the definitive version of At Last. And at last, we come to the end of our episode here, looking at emotional rescue songs and some great ones in there. But that's going to do it for this episode of Platter Chatter. Don't forget, click the like and subscribe buttons. Help us out on YouTube. Help us grow this channel. Help us see which subjects people like to see so that we can kind of tailor our show moving forward. And just, send us your love, in the words of Stevie Wonder, and another one of his great love songs. Click the like and subscribe. Or, also you can follow us on Facebook too. The page is Goin Vinyl TV. And then the other thing you can do, if you have an idea for a show, a subject, a trend or topic that we can cover here, all you have to do is either drop it in the comments here on YouTube or send me an email. It is billthedj@goinvinyl.com. And that's going to do it for this edition of Platter Chatter. But of course, we'll be back with more vinyl goodness from the land where the platters still matter and the records still rock. I'd say yeah. Thank you so much for tuning into this edition of Platter Chatter. I'm Bill Robert, and I will see you next time.